Yo, what up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Pnoid News. Man, listen, my boy TK Mal sent this to me, and I'll be real with you. If y'all ever want to, like, stand here and have me, react to something, or you have something you think could, like, pique my interest, there's a Joan. I have a Discord, links in the description. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can hop in there and, put stuff inside the video ideas, or, be able to have notifications of when I drop all my new videos, because I'll be honest with you, YouTube doesn't hand out notifications to people, like, unless you got like that bell rung properly. And let's be real here, nobody has that bell rung properly. And it's an extra pain in the ass. I get it, but do me a favor on top of that. Hey, look, join the Patreon. You know what I'm saying? Links in the description. Hit that Streamlabs. Help support the channel. You know what I mean? Like, because YouTube doesn't pay me. I know you might see ads on the beginning of this, but believe me, I'm not monetized in any way, shape, or form. They're just literally, robbing me in the end of the day. But look. So this is a video from Sargon of Akkad, who is put this, still inside of the Disneyland fantasy after all these years of being on the internet and getting his ass fucking handed to him on a regular basis. He is still on his Disney princess bullshit. I'm going to tell you what, we're going to listen to this. We're going to get into it. We're going to break this down. We're going to have a conversation about things, because I'll be honest, like, he's fucking retarded. Let's rock.
I think we're live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll leave it a few minutes before we get started, even though it's past my bedtime. 11 o'clock nearly on a Saturday night. What am I doing up? That's the question. Well, I'm going to be responding to a drama I got roped into, even though I wasn't really involved in it. But we may as well explore it a bit, I think, because there's a lot of sensitivity on all sides of this. And
let me say this, man. I'll be real. You know what I'm saying? Like, he looks thinned out. Look like he done dropped some weight off of him. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a while since I've seen Sargon of Akkad. I think the last time I covered Sargon was the Richard Spencer thing, when Styx Hexenhammer was the winner and he was like the debate moderator. Like, just putting that out there. You know what I'm saying?
I think that both sides are speaking past one another, and like the radical centrist that I am, I think I can at least try and bring these two to an understanding, perhaps, because it involves a bunch of people who I really like on all sides, and I can see sort of bad blood forming in certain ways because there's a lack of understanding.
Yeah, let me just say this, man. Listen, like, that whole radical centrist ideology is fucking dumb. Like, I guess everybody, like, wants to have a side nowadays. And I get the mentality. Like, I really do. Like, everybody wants to have some type of group. I'd love to have some type of group. But just being real, sometimes there's no group and you just got to go it alone. Like, sometimes, like, let's be... Like, the front of the dude leading the wolf pack, that motherfucker ain't stepping in anybody else's footprints. Like, it just is what it is. Let's keep rocking, though.
Understanding of each other's position. And it doesn't have to be that this is the case. And so I'm going to do my part to try and merely explain what I think is happening. And I will try to make it concise. At least I can see that things are working. Gotta make sure I don't boomer the whole thing, because you know that I don't do my own tech stuff now for good reason, and for everyone else's benefit. So this began a few weeks ago when a YouTuber who I'm friends with all of these people, that's the thing, and I like all of their content, I watch all of their content on a regular basis, so I don't want anyone to feel called out or anything like that, because this is not what I intend to do here. So there's a YouTuber called Academic Agent, and he made a video because he's transitioned somewhat from being free market capitalist to traditionalist, shall we say. And he, in this traditionalist mold, through this traditionalist lens, is looking at the state of modernity and is not very impressed with what he finds. And you can hardly blame him, because modernity is pretty gross and quite unimpressive compared to, well, anything in the past, which at least had some dignity about it. But anyway, so it begins with...
Let me say this, right? Like, he's not wrong, right? At the end of the day, like, everybody's kind of looking at this and going like, all this shit is it's just wrong, right? Like, selling out your traditions and your morals and your people and your family and your heritage and who you are as a human being for a shiny metal object or plastic object or video games. It's not worth it, right? Like, it used to be where, what you earned a year, you could spend on a house and it would be yours, right? I mean, you can get a house for $5,000 to $10,000 and you can make $5,000 or $10,000 a year. It wasn't a major deal back in the day. And things weren't so out of reach as they are today. I think that's a lot of the problem that we're facing, is that, and like in this entire society as a whole, is that you're standing here and the things that your father and your grandfather had as a whole are completely the fuck out of reach to you as a human being. And it seems like the work you put in isn't worth it. But we're going to get into that more as we go through this. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's keep rocking now.
This picture. Now, I don't know how well you can see that, but this was in response to someone posting, a woman posting a picture of their abs on Twitter. And someone had obviously drawn this, and he took exception to this, and that's funny. That's very, very funny. But his exception wasn't wrong. And so, as you can see, you have some sock puppet thing licking a woman's abs and a bunch of young men on Twitter posting this and cooming over it. And this sent him into something of an apoplectic rage. And this lasted for days and days and days. And then this went on into weeks. And somehow I got dragged into this. And I was like, right, okay. Because I watched his video on this. And I was on the toilet, as I watch most YouTube videos these days. And this, in the first couple of minutes, before the video had started, before I knew anything about it in the video, he'd said something like, we're a civilization in steep decline. And so I had posted just the thing saying you're underselling the total collapse quite significantly, because we are in a total collapse of our civilization at the moment. And it's not fun to say, it's not good news, it's just happening, and we're doing nothing about it. If you're okay with the collapse of civilization, then you're probably like, hey, great, this allows me to coom even more, whatever it is. And I mean, there are so many examples of this, but one of the examples that I've linked in the description is this video talking about women and sugar daddies, which is really sad. I'll summarize it by just saying, essentially, Generation Z have been taught by the millennials, who were totally subverted by the social justice warriors, into being purely materialist psychopaths who are unable to form proper emotional and romantic connections.
Okay, let's have this conversation. Right?
And also, they've been taught...
You know what I'm saying? We're going to have this conversation all together. So, this mentality of the social justice warriors turning people into complete psychopaths, that's just utter and complete nonsense. So let's break this down as to actually where it comes from, right? Because this is important to understand. So the basic premise of a relationship between a man and a woman, you know what I'm saying, throughout history, right? Like, fuck today, like throughout history, was the advantageous motherfucking like relationship of two individuals who one had vagina and the other one had monetary means, right? That's what dudes had. Dudes had money and, you know what I'm saying, strength and security. Females had vagina, right? And so we said, hey, look, we'll take care of you. You know what I'm saying? We'll provide the things that you need. And you let us have that vagina and provide us with offspring that's ours. That's like the whole principle of marriage, right? Is that dudes aren't providing for children that aren't theirs. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it's like, hey, look, if that's my kid, I can take care of that child, you know what I mean? And be, you know what I mean, cool. Like, and everything can be smooth. I'll have an heir, you know what I mean? These type of things. And having the one man, one woman type of principle allowed us to have an economy where men had like a stake in the society as a whole, right? And this here is nothing more than the commoditization of that relationship. That's what this is. That's what sugar daddies are about. It's a really simple principle of like, we're going to skip the relationship part of this because marriage makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to anybody, whether it's a male, whether it's a female. It makes absolutely no sense, right? For a dude to get married is the dumbest thing ever because, like, yo, it's risking losing half your shit, being tied to a female who you have no authority over top of, right? Who can just do whatever she wants, whenever she wants, and ruin the entire relationship and the family as a whole. And she has no responsibility. On top of that, in America, okay, we're gonna put this out here as an American, right? Because like I don't know how the rest of the world works, but I know how America works. If a female wants to hop on welfare with her kids and leave her husband, the government will give her $60,000 a year in benefits between Section 8, welfare, or food stamps, health insurance, vehicles, transportation, fucking paying her electric bills, paying her fucking light, or paying her fucking heating bills, paying her water bills, paying for the clothes for the kids, right? Like, yo, the state will provide $60,000 worth of benefits. And the average dude in America brings home $34,000 a year. You can see where this would end up causing a problem inside of the dynamics of who we are as a civilization, right? So this here is more along the lines like, hey, look, females have no incentive to be in a monogamous relationship, right? And dudes are standing here going like, yo, we understand that, like, yo, you can no longer own your female, right? Because like that was the whole principle. Like, yo, you owned your female was your property. Your wife was your property. Your children were your property. And this is why, and it was a good thing, right? Believe it or not, because in a court of law, you couldn't have your family taken away from you without jurisprudence. Today, that's not the truth. Like today in this, you know what I'm saying? A female and your children are no longer property. They're now independent individuals. And in being so, you don't have the right to a trial of your peers. You don't have the right to, you know what I'm saying, any of the things that normally would be affected. Like say if they wanted to come take your house or your car, right? You know what I mean? If, because of like criminal charges or because of, you know, like payments due, you would have a right to a trial by jury for this, right? You don't have these in the family court system. And this is throughout the country. And I'm assuming throughout most of Europe as well. So in being this and in having this mentality of understanding that females are basically now rental properties, you know what I'm saying? They're just, they're apartments. Like, oh, you don't own it. Like, oh, you're renting it. Like you're paying the bills at the moment, you know what I'm saying? But the moment you can no longer pay the bills, like it's on about your business, because like relationships aren't real. Like they're not there for some magic fairyland type of thing, right? Where like, you know, oh, you know, I love you, you love me, we're going to be together forever, right? It's not how the hell it works. Like, yo, you get to keep things as long as you're able to. It's all transactional. Like all relationships are transactional in the end of the day. When you get away from all the bullshit and all the nonsense, like, yo, you don't get in a relationship with an individual if it's not positive for you, right? And like, yo, you don't have a friend who, you know, I mean, is negative in your life. Like, yo, if you have friends who are absolutely negative in your life, you have to get rid of them, right? Like legitimately, because eventually it's going to get to the point where you go, yo, bro, like, dude, this is all one-sided here. Like, yo, I'm responsible doing what I have to do, and you're just a piece of shit who just keeps destroying everything. If you had a friend who, like, every time you gave him a ride somewhere, he fucking bashed your fucking back window of your car in, right? You would stop giving that motherfucker a ride. He'd stop being your friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, life, yo, relationships in life are transactional. Like, it's just how the hell shit works. But let's keep rocking.
To hate men, and so there are millions of young women using various apps and stuff, covered in this article by Zoe Strimple, where they just hate men and see them as transactional jobs. Basically, they view everything through the lens of, what do I have to do for how much time to get X amount of money out of a man that I hate? And the men,
I mean, let's again, this is all relationships. Why does this surprise? Like, again, Walt Disney has done so much to destroy the mentality of dudes' brains. Like, you think your mom and dad were together because of the fact that, like, they just loved each other, right? Like, they were together because, like, it was positive for both of them, right? Like, your dad liked fucking your mom. Your mom liked having a place to live, right? Like, they got together for this purpose, right? It makes life really, really fucking easy. like it worked, right? It doesn't work anymore. Like, when you take away what a dude brings to the table and replace it with the government, it no longer works. Like, none of this shit works anymore. Because then it's literally like, the dude now has to, like, literally make the woman happy. And not on that, like, oh, happy wife, happy life. You know what I mean? Because, like, if you're stuck together because, like, there's nobody there, right? And like, you don't treat the female well, like, she's a miserable bitch. That's your fault. Right. But, like, if you treat your female with respect, like, you love her, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you take care of her because, like, that's yours, right? Like, you take care of your car, you take care of your dog, you take care of your kids, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? You treat them right because you don't want them to be an asshole. It's the same way with a female. It's no different, right? But, like, thing is, you're still providing all the stuff that she needs, you know what I'm saying? And she's appreciative for you doing that, right? But, like, if that's gone because, like, she at any time has the option to just go, I'll go do my own thing, this shit stops working as a whole. It just stops. Because, like, there's no, you know what I mean? Like, the dudes are just miserable because all day long they're walking around on eggshells because at any given time they could have everything they want taken away from them. Why is this some foreign concept? Like, this is not difficult to understand. Like, let's keep rocking now.
Are sad and lonely, really sad and lonely, and just want some female company. They just want a woman to listen to them for a bit, and they're like, okay, fine, X amount of $5,000 or whatever. And so the women are making out like bandits. This, of course, means that young men in the sort of age bracket that they would have usually dated have got very difficult dating prospects. It's very, very difficult for them not to be incels because the women, and again, millions of them in America and Britain, are apparently using these dating sites. These sugar daddy sites. I don't think we should call them dating sites because they're not. Because the intent is, of course, not to form a relationship and become a part of what we would have traditionally considered to be society. The goal is merely just to take advantage of an opportunity. And so you're stuck with this generation that just doesn't understand what it is to have a relationship, what it is to love someone. And as the women themselves say, as interviewed by Zoe, they hate men. They just hate men. They openly profess this hatred of men. It's like, right. And so when you realize that, okay, you've got on this one dating site that does this, there are 4 million young women using it. It's like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of young women.
I mean, let's keep this 100, right? Women are supposed to hate men, right? Excuse me, I had to sneeze, right? Like, women hate dudes, like, in the end of the day, right? Because, all right, so this mentality of hating males as a whole is that one there, like, in general, is something that's fucking taught to them, right? Because, all right, well, here's what it is. All right, so basically the principle is this. If you're not providing the security for your female, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, if your female doesn't understand what type of savage you are, right? If you're not, like, respected, Like, for instance, if you stand here and you get a dog for the purposes of securing your home, right? And fucking, like, you bring that dog home and that dog's a savage. You know what I'm saying? Like, he protects your fucking house on a regular basis from, intruders or wolves or whatever it is, and it saves your kids. You're going to love that dog. That's what dudes used to be. That's what they used to be there for. And we've destroyed that. Like, we've completely taken that away altogether. And this mentality of, like, as a dude, you're supposed to be providing for your female for security and financial means, right? And she doesn't see you as that, because she sees it as she's trading away her freedom and her life and her independence and her opportunity to go fuck all the dicks, right? She wants to hop on that cock carousel and ride it the whole way. Right, the whole way to the wall. And she's trading that away to be with you. Right. And so, like, she hates having to do that, because, like, there's literally nothing that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that you're providing that the police and the government and welfare and, you know what I'm saying, like, an education and an employer wouldn't provide to her. And that's the mentality. That's the problem at the end of the day. Like, because you just don't, like, a relationship isn't just, oh, I love this person, because, like, it just doesn't exist. It's not real. It's fugazi. Like, the whole thing's supposed to be transactional. We've made the world entirely too safe. Right? To the point of where, like, we allow individuals to survive that ought not to be surviving. Like, like, every kid in the world has a peanut allergy. You think, like, 100 years ago, an individual with a peanut allergy would have fucking made it? Like, a severe one? No. Like, you try to keep them away from peanuts, but if you lived in Virginia, like, you be fucked. Like, it is what it is. Like, you wouldn't change the entire school around just to deal with one kid with a peanut allergy. Like, you have to keep that motherfucker home. That's the mentality, right? And that's, I think, where, like, we're fucking up here is, like, the mental is that we've stood here and made the world entirely too, like, fucking pussified, and reached a point in gynocentrism where, everybody hates everybody because, like, nothing works for anyone anymore. But let's keep rocking.
Women using it. Then you realize that's just the upper strata. That's just the ones who are attractive enough to do it. There is going to be a lower strata of ones who Callum points out in this video. They're not attractive to do it, but they are the ones at the protests. They are the ones at the women's marches. They still hate men. They still view their relationships with men as purely power interactions. And this is quite concerning, especially as it's not like the birth rates are doing very well as it is. We are in a demographic collapse. And you can say, well, why do you care about that? Well, I mean, I'd like a pension. I'd like, I'd like to be able to go to an old folks home and have it staffed when I'm older. But
let's keep this a buck. All right. Like, as Americans, I think the majority of us younger individuals have completely accepted the fact that none of these programs are going to be here when we get older. And I think that's why we're further down the road of the red pill than, like, most of these Europeans are. You know what I mean? Like, but let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Anyway, so the point is, I was not talking about licking abs because we hadn't got to this point. But since that has been the position ascribed to me, let's talk about it, because I think there is something more to this. So, I mean, this, AA made the video, but I got all the memes. Okay, fine, that's fine. And so let's talk about men and women, shall we? This is a traditional woman. This is traditionally a Western interpretation of what a traditional female beauty is. An attractive woman with her husband and her family. It's quite wholesome looking, isn't it? Good luck getting that. You're in trouble. But this isn't, unique. You can look at an African depiction of what a beautiful woman is. Oh, she's feminine, graceful, not hypermuscular. Weird, that, isn't it? You go all around the world. Women have a particular kind of idealized form. It's not this. That's not very womanly. That's actually very manly. What we traditionally and usually consider to be a man. Now, it's because, and this has been folded into the term tomboy. Now, this is not what a tomboy is. A tomboy is a traditional woman of some sort, something that looks like a traditional woman that just dresses slightly less feminine than most other women. They don't tend to wear makeup, they wear baggy clothes. It's not that they're bulked like they're steroid-using psychos. Anyway, so this whole thing became very interesting to look at, because if there's one thing you can say about the people doing this on Twitter, it's that they're not being manly. Whatever this sock puppet is, it's not an avatar of manliness. Now, you might not care about that, and you might say, well, this is just Twitter. Twitter's not real life. I agree. Twitter isn't real life. Academic Agent disagrees. He thinks Twitter is real life, but that's his prerogative. But he's not wrong about the declining standards of masculinity, and it is, outside of the Twitter bubble, quite sad to see, and it is concerning, that our civilizations are being run by women who view masculinity as a pathology. You can see this over and over in anywhere in academia, practically. In the classrooms, young boys are just drugged now.
Now, you're not wrong about that, right? I mean, because, the moment you let women vote, I've stated this point a lot of times, right? I'm not putting shit up on the screen because I don't care, right? This is but y'all can look it up yourselves. Women outvote dudes, by usually 10 to 20 million votes a fucking election, right? So, women have been, picking the president and picking your representatives for years. They just don't know it. Women are in charge and they don't know it. I think that's a lot of the problem, is the fact that, we don't have these type of conversations on a national level where we go, women are in charge. They're the largest voting bloc in America. Right, if they got together and just said we're gonna do this, they would run things they already do, but they would run things consciously. They don't know that they're running things right now, and this is due to a couple of facts. One is females on average have more time to vote because they don't work as much as dudes do. And on top of that, they live longer than men. So there's a larger female population in every Western society in the world. And even most of the Eastern ones as well. And we all live in a matriarchal fucking oligarchy, whether you're in here, Europe, Australia, individuals. Australia's really bad, as far as being a matriarchy is concerned. And so basically, they're serving the principles of females. Females are 85% of consumers. So, almost all, of, everything that you use every day, everything that's, sold to you, McDonald's, whatever, their number one customer is single moms, right? So, they're gearing most of their advertising towards female. All of the news is meant for females. Most of the programs on TV are meant for females, right? All this stuff is literally female centered, right? And this is why, it doesn't make any sense to anybody what's going on, because they don't tell them that. They don't say that. They don't come out and just let you know, this is what it is, right? And the more you dig into this, the more you understand it's just the people in charge don't know they're in charge. Right? Why is academia so feminine? Because, females are their customers. Right? It's who's being served by this. That's kind of the mentality. Why are we in these forever wars all over the world or whatever, and nobody's saying anything about it? Because females vote, and they don't care. Why do we ship all our jobs off? Because females don't do manufacturing work. Females work in offices. They don't want equality of bricklayers, right? They want equality of, good paying office jobs. Females are in econ departments and human resources and, liberal arts and shit. All of these things. This is what females do, right? They want to work in a fucking, a air conditioned office. That's the mentality. Females don't want to be plumbers and electricians. And so, these money that go to these programs as well. This is why, our education system is so fucked up because it's geared towards women because, women vote, right? And politicians know this fact. You know what I'm saying? Advertisers know this fact. Media people know this fact. Academia know this fact, right? But nobody says it. Nobody comes out and goes, this is what it is. And, you know, if you don't have that understanding, if you know what I mean, like in your head, like completely and all the time, like that should just be a fact in your head. That should be your paradigm. Like the world makes way more sense at that point. You know what I mean? If you don't, you know, then like you're going to be sitting here going like, why is this the way it is? You know what I mean? Like, yo, because like, yo, you're not, I don't know. Anyway, yo, look, it's about 30 minutes at this point. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to cut this off because, like, let's be real here. Motherfuckers really don't like to watch really long videos. So, yo, I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to send this to Sargon and see if he watches it. You know what I mean? See if I can get a response out of him. You know what it is, man. Like, share, and subscribe. You know what the deal is. Peace be like one. Later.